Hey, what's up, guys? So this is going to be me talking about the gimmicks of Gates of God. Now, as I mentioned in the description and possibly the title, this level is not your ordinary level. It's not like any other girls, quite lovely, quite spiffy. So, in reality, there's only four gimmick parts. You have, the random wave, and then you have the random slope ship part, and then you have the wave with the randomly occurring reverse gravity, and then you have the spider part that I somehow successfully broke. I don't know how it broke, but it broke entirely, so it's going to have to be redone. But I'm going to be kind of going over the level in general, and I will be going over how you generally want to approach the gimmicks, getting used to them, because since I'm aiming for kind of a top one difficulty here, and sight reading levels would be a pretty new thing to the community, especially on a caliber of a list. Even it's not exactly things you see out there. Not for originality, more so just because I don't think anyone wants to make those or even play them. But I did. I had so much spare time, so it just happened. All right, first we just start on this little part here. This is just a simple timing part. It looks really messy. There's going to be a little bit refinement, but my style's a bit messy as it is. I'm not exactly the king of refinement here. So you may have noticed in the demo clip, I absolutely sucked ass staying in the lines, and that's because I suck at playing at low speeds. But I have to play with them in order to speed it up in the final thing, so I can get a high FPS. Because otherwise, it would have shit FPS, and you wouldn't be able to read it. So you have the first part, all time and base, super fun, blah blah blah, and then you get to this little jump here, and this starts this wave. So now what this is, and I'll also explain how I make all these parts, because they're very simple, and I think if anyone wants to copy me, that'd be super cool, and I'd be totally up for that. No plagiarism complaints over here. So you can call this like the worm wave part. So what it does is I can actually just play through it, even though you've already seen it. I'll just play through it. So as you can see, it's going in these random. Why does it look weird? I'm gonna ignore why it looks weird. It goes in these random directions, and yeah, it's just this randomly moving worm throughout the thing, and it stays within the bounds of this whole thing, and it gives it the appearance that you're constantly moving through these. So it looks like the whole thing has these, but in reality, if you zoom out a little bit, what you'll realize is, oh no, the magic's broken. No, it's just a weird moving wave. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate, but it's okay though. Realistically, I see the main complaints for this part, and I think a lot of parts that may be complained about in this level, would be that all of the parts. So as you can see here, it is a good bit visually obstructive. But the thing is, there always is one point in the level. There always is one point where you can see where the height or the location of the gap is. It is always visible. And to beat this level, you're expected to be able to remember that. Now, to compare this to any pre-existing things, you have things like Osumania, where the notes come down, you hit them. It's like the PC version of piano tiles if you've never heard of it. You can enable an option which puts this black gradient on the bottom of your screen, and there's even one that puts it on the top and makes this narrow band of vision. And once you get good at the game, you're able to put together exactly where those notes will be, exactly what time, and you do it flawlessly. It's not a problem. It's basically second nature to you. It's something that you learn to do. Even though you can only see the notes for such a limited amount of time, you still know they're there, and you know when they're going to be at the finish line, when you have to press them. So that's my defense for visual obstruction of this thing. You may have seen the ship part, and you might have been like, what the hell? What kind of justify that fucking shit? I'll justify it. All right, after that wave part, you go through your little corridor thing. This was fun. Just a little basic bitch hell style, nothing special. And then you get into this right here. This is agony. So what's special about this part is when you go into the ship, it's meant to be a straight fly that is nearly perfect. A nearly perfect straight fly. Really difficult straight fly. But here's the thing. You can't just practice the straight fly, because the gimmick here is, and how it works, it's very simple how it works. I forgot to explain how the last one works, but I'll explain it later. Don't worry. How this works is there is a thing over here. There's a where the heck is it? There it is. It's actually slightly behind the end. So you have this triangle right here, and you have a dot somewhere in here. Now, you have a bunch of random triggers that will move the dot up and down, and then you have rotate triggers that will make this entire thing aim at that, which will give it a random angle. Meaning every time you go through it, the straight fly you do is going to be slightly different. So just knowing the pattern clicks for straight fly isn't going to help you. You need to know how to sight read the straight fly. And it's not just something you can be moderately good at. It's something you have to be really good at. And if you couldn't see from the demo, I'll show you exactly why you got to be really quick with it. Because there's very little time, for you to actually see the path of the thing before the visuals start going a little wacko insano. So I'll go here, and bam. So as you can see, like, I already would have died. Okay, bam, that's it. That is all the time you had, and that was at 20% speed. That is not a lot of time. You need to be very good with it. Now, how I recommend combating this part is looking at the bottom, because it's always ever so slightly visible. So you're doing it, and you're looking at the bottom, and you're just hovering over it. And you got to get in the groove, because there's times where you cannot see the spikes. So if you're not consistent, getting used to it, then you're not going to be able to do it. And if it looks like my icons are just bugging all over the screen, that's because if you play this in slow-mo, you can actually see the mirror portal splitting the screen. And what that does is it makes my icons look like they're jumping back and forth. In my opinion, pretty difficult part. But it is just a straight fly, and keep in mind, the entire thing is the same direction. So what you're doing right here is what you're doing right here, is what you're doing right here, and all the way to the end, it's what you're doing right here. And at the end, you just got these three things. I'll make it very generous and very easy to do, and I might not even have you have to click them. It's very easy to do. Teleports you up here. This whole part is a work in progress. I'm definitely working out the kinks on the decoration of this part, because it's supposed to be like this cool rainbow blocks that are shifting these colors. It's kind of hard to see when you have the radial blur. But as you can see, that's kind of the gist of this part. It's still something I'm figuring out, but there's no gimmick in this one. It's just very, very high CPS. So if you look, this is 4 times speed, and here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 orbs, and you have 1, 2, dash orb, click, dash orb, hold perfect, release perfect, and you get a black orb, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Did I count that? I counted that right. 7 dash orbs that are going to get you up. Now, I don't think you have to press all these, but it's always optional. Push you up here, hit the blue orb, have to hit, there's a hidden little spider orb right there, gotta hit it, and then bam bam, dash down, go up, another little dash orb saw is what I'm gonna call it. I think this might be an original thing. I've never seen anyone else do it, so maybe if I'm lucky that's a little original thing by me. And then even a little dash orb saw, then bam 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 bam, all mandatory orbs. The only thing that's relatively skippable is if you time the dash orbs really good, you can skip them. And honestly, it might even be easier than hitting them all, so don't worry. Then you have your little ship, dash orb, bang, 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 and then down. That's when you get into this wave, and I love this wave. This wave, in my opinion, is a lot of fun, because it's not that difficult. I mean, for a Geometry Dash level, it's pretty difficult, but it's easy enough that it's not annoying to play, at least in my experience. But you have these things. So I think there are 30. Okay, I was right. It was exactly 30. Sweet. But basically, all of these have a random chance of appearing, and that's controllable by, where in goodness sakes are they? I don't know. Here they are. Here's the chances that any one of those can ignore one of these rows. One of these rows isn't even activated. So you have a random chance. And all the chances for all the different things are, they're all different. They're really made so that you're never gonna realistically get a wave where there's like one single one or two, because that would defeat the point. And I think there's a real debate and a real discussion to have on how we grade levels like these, levels that are sight read. Because on one hand, here's all the ways I believe you can take it. You could take it based on the easiest possible route that could have been taken, because that is the easiest the level could have been. You could make it take it the hardest. I don't know why you would ever do that. You could take the average of the difficulties. You could even say the official difficulty is the path that the verifier took, because that was the intended path. There's a lot of things to be said about judging the difficulty of these levels with such difficult gameplay and sight reading. When you have levels in the demon list that are always competing for top spots, they're so difficult and unbelievable. And there's, when there's arguments over levels that are basically the same level going for top ones, now you throw in this one, which we don't really even have much of a metric to grade. I don't believe I've never heard of any solid one. Now, what I personally believe in doing when you're judging the difficulty is, I think a lot of people agree with me. It's pretty simple. I'll just go with the average difficulty. We say, what is exactly in the middle? Take the hardest possible thing the level can be, take the easiest. For levels like this one, that would definitely work. For levels that have extraordinary amounts of variability and randomness, that may get a little bit harder to judge, because then it can get to where some clicks affect other clicks, and those clicks can affect 3 other clicks and make them easier. But if it's in a different position, it can make them harder, and if they're in a different position, it screws it all up. But I think that's a valid position to take on this. I'm interested to see how this turns out. And now we're gonna move on to the spider, which is completely broken, but fortunately I do have a video, which is where I did a little sneak peek of this, because I made this whole part in a day, and I was so excited because I'm terrible at decoration. And I say I'm terrible. I make stuff that looks acceptable on rate standards, but you have to keep in mind, I probably make less than one design a month. I'm not very good at this. I get lucky. My good designs come from luck. And on that preview where I showed this little part, I also played just a little bit into, go away please, played a little bit into the spider part. And now how it works is, you go as a mini spider and you're on these platforms, and the mechanism is the exact same as that first wave part, where it kind of moves like a snake and gives you this impression of you're going in this tunnel. But instead, you need to always be paying a lot of attention to it, because it's so hard, because the clicks, they're really precise to get from one block to another. You need to judge when you need to do like a little double click. You need to judge when you need to fall down a thing, when you need to spam, when you need to just release and not touch stuff. Did I already say that? I found the spider part to be very difficult, and I had a very hard time doing it. I don't think I ever made it any more than halfway through without no clip. I'm really looking forward to getting this level done. I'm not sure how much I'm going to refine it. This part obviously needs a little love, a little kiss. I'll probably have the motivation to do it. This part's done. This ship's basically done. This part's done. Maybe there'll be a little transition in between. Probably not. You have up here, this obviously needs some work, because the weird thing is, I always wanted it to be this rainbow part. I wanted this to be this demon that goes from this hell thing kind of to this rainbowy thing. Not as like this big in-your-face gimmick, but that's just how I wanted to decorate the level. But I feel like these little rainbowy effects and stuff, they're not enough to stand on their own. And the reason behind that is not because I think they look bad. I think they look fine. They don't really affect the gameplay too much, or how you read it, just because the entire focus is on the orbs, which I never affect, and I put them above all the effects. I want to make sure they're completely visible, just because of how quick the clicks per second is in this part. When learning this part, you're gonna want to be able to see the orbs. You're gonna want to be able to, like, oh, okay, so this moves a little too fast for me to see, but I do know that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clicks. So then you do 5 clicks and you pass the part. Good. Looking forward to this level. Don't know who's gonna verify it. I don't have I have Lobster, but I still don't really have a verifier for X-Core, who I think wants to play it in its current state. So I'm hoping this one doesn't sit in YouTube no views purgatory. And I hope he does get a little bit of traction. Guys, please, I didn't use copyright sounds this time. You can preview it, I swear. I'll even make a macro with the option triggers, please. Yeah, but this is my level. Thank you for watching. Oh, wait, hold on. No, I can't thank you just yet. If I remember, I gotta re-explain how this fucking shit works. So this part, if anyone has watched my other videos, they may recognize it from Sentience, my level that I canceled, and stole this part from my own level. because I loved it, and this was going to be the gimmick for this part anyways. I like the decoration. So if you'll look at the triggers above this, this was the old version of Sentience's wave. What this does is you have this front little column right here. You have this spike, this circle, this spike. What happens is it just has a loop. So you hit a spawn trigger, it moves it up or down, or keeps it stationary, and then it moves it forward by 1. And then every single column behind it, 1 by 1, which is what these move triggers are, 1 by 1, moves into the position of the last. So you have this column which moves here, and then the second to last column which moves to where the first one's at. And that's how it moves forward like a snake and retains its position. And for decorating these things, it can be a little limiting. So if you want to have sophisticated decoration for this, you're going to have to make it longer than 1 screen length, because otherwise you have to make every block the same or every other block the same 2 block horizontal position to be the same pattern, because if not, it's going to break the illusion, and it's just going to look like part of your waves just bouncing up and down, and it's going to break the illusion. It's really simple to make, but I do want to point out, and I'm probably happy to release it in the future, I have Sentience. And where Sentience is completely different, and you know this if you read through the headache of a description I put on the level, I did a little bit more modification to this. Oh boy, the shaders. Get them out of my face. They're disgusting. I did a little bit more work. So what this does, later I'll make all of this public because I think it's a cool little wave concept. I don't know, maybe some people want to use it. That'd be super cool. What this one does is every time you die, it takes a note of how you died, what the general format of the wave looked like, the structure, what it looked like when you die, how it killed you. Did it kill you in a spam? Did it kill you going upwards? Did it kill you staggering itself going upwards or downwards? What did it do to kill you? It remembers that even after your death, and it starts keeping track of that. And it's a level that learns to fight back because it knows what's going to kill you. It's going to give you what's going to kill you. And obviously that's cool because, that's a really great practice. It's going to give you what you struggle with until you're good at everything. But that's the thing. You can't just get lucky through this way. That's the whole point of it. This design was a prevention for the luck factor and the luck complaint where, hey, if this whole thing is just one single long corridor, then it would literally be fucking medium demon instead of top list, right? Yes. That is why it learns what you suck at. So you can never cheese the system with a little bit of luck. It gets the odds get way too overwhelming and against your favor. But thanks for listening to my little rambling clip about this. Again, can't wait to finish the level. It's going to be so great. I'm going to say goodbye by means of Mongolian throat singing. Oh, fuck it. I'm sick, sorry. It'll happen next time, I swear. Have a good one, guys.